Welcome back to another Alliance War video. We have Kitty, CGR, Kingpin, Ghost, and Quake banned. This war is Pycb versus 4 Loki. It is war number 1 with a brand new global, so this is going to be interesting. We didn't get a whole lot of testing done in the off-season. Some bosses weren't placed and just not a lot of global defenders, but here we are. And we are on path 6 in section 1 with Galan, White Magneto, and Valkyrie. I have using White Magneto here, and she's metal. So the theory is that his ability accuracy reduction will stop the global from proccing, and that means that whenever I take a blocked hit, I am going to get a flourish buff. And I dex real quick to make sure that I get magnetism on first. And you see, as I parry, I'm not getting a flourish buff on her, which will increase her combat power rate. 1 or 2 doesn't really do a whole lot, but when you start stacking them progressively, it does do quite a bit. Now, I did max pacify here for a few reasons. To make sure that I get an extra 30% ability accuracy reduction, and to make sure that she doesn't shrug my stun, because I didn't want to use a pre-fight, because I didn't want to use a some persistent charges so I could have them for the future wars. I also threw a special 1 so I could lower her armor, and in turn lower her chance to apply or to purify any debuffs. So that went well, rather smoothly. I'm in section 2. I have this Peni, and she's global, but I'm using Galan, who's a global attacker. Global attackers will apply a fate seal with every special thrown, and will also apply a neutralize on the opponent, a certain, I think, 30% chance per hit. So here I was actually just curious. I actually wanted to just hit her block and harvest and throw my SB1 with protection up. I wanted to see what the damage mitigation was with the protection. But you see, like, I go to hit her block there and I intercept her, and I'm like, oh man, I just want to hit her block and build my planetary mass. But this Penny's like really aggressive, so I'm like, okay, here I'm like, all right, well, just just kind of bait that SB1, protection's back up. I'm like, perfect. So hit her block again, and she comes at me, so I get intercept. I'm like, oh man. And then she throws 2 heavies, and I'm like, you know what, okay, I hit her block a few times there. I'm getting kind of frustrated, so at this point I'm like, okay, just get the fight over with. I just need to get her down, and she dies. There's no reason to mess around anymore. It's an easy fight. Now I have Mole Man on Ebb and Flow Intercept, and he is a global attacker as well, so the flourish buffs will stack. However, if you hit into his block, he goes unstoppable. So the plan here is to use Valkyrie and to get a pierce buff, so I can stop the unstoppable and hit his block just as I need to. And I haven't really used Valkyrie that much. She is R4. After this war, I actually take her to R5 for prestige, and just she surprised me, because you'll see in these next 2 fights she does really good damage even with protection up. So here I got an intercept. Excuse me. I'm baiting this SB2, and I'm really just building my power so I can throw my special 2. And here he throws his special 1. He has monster mass, and I want to get rid of that flourish buff, so I'm gonna throw that. And you see, she counters the unstoppable. I'm almost at an SB3, so I just throw my special 2. He's turtling up, so I'm like, all right, perfect. He throws that special 1, and now I'm building up to a special 2 again. Right there, I need to get better at inverting my combo so I can get my bulwark buffs up. Like right there, I switched it back, and there was no need to. I need to just kind of like play around with her a bit more, and see how I can do that. Like right here, I could have hit into his block 2 more times and inverted it and gone with my special 2. But at this point, I'm like, well, I get an intercept. I want to hit into his block, and that worked out perfect. And this will kill him for sure. So relatively straightforward. Now the next fight, I was just kind of all over the place with this. I was really trying to see, like, if I was like, okay, I need to invert my combo and really go from there. And you'll see that I don't really get the protection down, because what threw me off was his power gain with MD. And that was rather frustrating for me, because when I thought I could get, his, beta special and hit him once and dash back intercept, he just got a lot of power, and then I was like, oh, I gotta wait. Then I wanted to dump my power with my special 2, and it was just like, I gotta wait. So like here I have a dex buff, right? And I guess what I could have done, well, it's just really hard because you are dexing when you dash back. So like right there, I'm like, well, he's over a bar. I'm like, okay, we'll just, build. And then he parries me right there, and I'm just like, oh my god. So at this point, I'm like, I throw my special into his block, and I'm just watching to see how much damage. About a minute in, he's at 30% damage, and I'm like, all right, that's not horrible. I didn't even get the protection down. She's still kind of, doing well here. And it is slower, but it is just Juggernaut, so I just can't get really too I can't get too greedy thinking that it's completely safe. But at this point, I'm like, okay, bait this SB1. And if I would have just been better at inverting my combo, I would have my bulwark, and I just would be doing more damage. So I throw my special 2 here, and it does a good amount, and I'm like, okay, it's a minute and a half has passed, and at this point I'm like, well, he's just gonna die. I'm just hitting his block, and he's definitely gonna die, so no need to get the intercept. So this really surprised me. This fight is actually why I decided to R5 her. And the next fight, I wasn't sure how this was gonna go. I didn't have the max ability accuracy reduction, because when you use the stun passive, his pre-fight, it doesn't apply with pacify. So I was just a little unsure, but ultimately it's usually fine, even pushing him to an SP2. But I go into this fight and I'm like, all right, I don't know what to expect. I get a flourish buff right off the bat. Well, he's not magnetized. I should have dexed. And there he doesn't get one, and I'm like, that's a 13k heavy. Okay, I want to hit his block to remove that flourish buff, and then just go at it. And I'm like, all right, things are going fine. And I'm getting willpower healing from the armor break, and I want to dex his SB1. At this point I make a decision not to get cornered, so I'm like, okay, just keep going, and so 30 seconds in, and I just take that into the block. Doesn't really do anything. Applies debuffs. So I get some willpower. I threw that SB1 to get an armor break, so I could throw my SB2 and get some bigger degen damage. But with power efficiency, he's throwing quite a bit of specials, and there he has 2 flourish buffs, and I'm like, okay, I hit him once and both of them go away, and I'm like, okay, I need to get that SB2 off. If he can just throw a special, and he does right here, but I eat some of it, so I'm like, okay, well, that gives me some power. Right there I should have done a combo into my special 2, so I didn't get the bigger degen. But here he's halfway down, and there's a minute and a half that's left. So at this point I'm like, okay, as bad as I've played this, including that heavy, I'm doing well in terms of health. I take this into the block. He gets 3 flourish buffs. I need to get those off. That's what I absolutely need to do, and in trying to do that, I eat another special. So there he turtles up. I get both of them off, and now I'm just trying to win the battle of spacing. I get a SB1 there, and I need him to throw this special 1. He does, and he only gets 1 flourish buff. And so here he backs up, and I'm like, man, just back up. I need you to get go into block mode. And right here, it's like, okay, he has 2 flourish buffs. I need to hit his block, and he does right there. And I'm like, okay, push him back for spacing. Get some prowess with a heavy. I need him to throw 1 more special, special 2, and I'll just block it, and I'll be fine. So here everything's going fine. About halfway through the fight, and I'm in control. I just need to take that, and it does quite a bit of damage into my block, you see. But there I throw a special 1. I probably should have saved for the special 2, He throws this, and it does quite a bit of damage. And I'm trying to just get him down at this point now. Because of power efficiency, I'm just like, okay, what you know, how should I end it? And he throws one more special, 2, and I'm just like, this fight is over. I was safe. I was never really worried in that fight, but good interactions with the global. I'm gonna show you guys an off-season fight that I had. I really was gonna R5 Mantis because I really liked her, but this is on Ebb and Flow Intercept versus Absman, and obviously not healed because it's off season. I did a Power Start 1 because it was a test. I used my Infuriate to get him to dash at me to get a quick intercept, and then the Intimidate to just land some mixed emotions. And you see how he just turtling up. And at this point, I'm like, okay, I did that Infuriate, so now I can get another Intimidate. I heavy counter a special 1, which is perfect, and then I go to I want to intercept, so I get the Fury up, land the Intimidate. I can hit his block to get some more emotions, and then I hold heavy, and then I launch my special 2, and you see that he just completely nuked. Really loving Mantis. I hope I can use her this season. Now back to the war. Unfortunately, we did lose this war. Shout outs to Andrew, Karate Mike, and Clown as our MVPs, but we did drop this one, so GG's to PYCB, and I will see you guys in the next war.